Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Students, today inshallah we will see methods of sampling. Okay, there are two methods of sampling, non-random sampling and random sampling. Now we will see what is non-random sampling. Okay, a non-random sample is one in which the unit of analysis have been selected from the sampling frame by convenience. Okay, so for example, if you have a population out of for example 300, out of which you are selecting the unit which is more convenient for you. Okay, or for the purpose of representing certain characteristics of the population that are of particular interest. For example, there may be a situation that you have to select 10 out of 100 household in a locality. You have to decide which household to select and which to reject. Okay, so you may select the household conveniently situated or the household known to you or your friend, isn't it? So in this case, you are using your judgment in selecting 10 houses out of 100. So this way of selecting 10 out of 100 household is non-random sampling. Okay, so in non-random sampling, all the units of population in non-random sampling method, all the units of population do not have equal chance of being selected. Okay, because here convenience and judgment of the investigator plays a very important role in the selection of sample. Okay, so now we will see what is random sampling. What is random sampling? So as the name suggests, random sampling is one where the individual unit from the population are selected at random. Okay, here the unit or the sample from the population is selected at random. If the government wants to determine the impact of rise in the petrol price on a household budget of a particular locality, for this a representative sample of 30 household has been taken and studied. So what is done is the name of all 300 household of that area are written on the paper and mixed, and then 30 names is to be investigated. Or the 30 name that has to be investigated are selected one by one. So in random sampling, every individual has an equal chance of being selected. So in the example what I've told you, all 300 sample units or all 300 sampling units, which is called the sampling frame of the population, has an equal chance of being included in the sample of 30 units which has to be in the 30 units, and hence the sample I just told you that in random sampling, every individual has an equal chance of being selected. See, in the example which I have told you, all 300 sample units, of the population has an equal chance of being included in the sample out of 30 units. Okay, so this is also called as lottery method. And nowadays, these programs are used to select random samples. Okay, so what is random sampling? Random sampling is one where the individual unit from the population are selected at random. That means all the population or all the units of the population have equal chance of being selected as sample. Okay, now next we will see sampling and non-sampling errors. Now what is sampling errors? So as you all know, the population which consists numerical values have two characteristics, the two important characteristics, which are first one is this central tendency, which may be measured by mean, median or mode. Second one is dispersion, which can be measured by calculating the standard deviation, mean deviation or range. Correct. See, the main purpose of sample is to get one or more estimate of population parameter. Correct. So the sampling error refers to the difference between the sample estimate and the corresponding population parameter. Okay. So what is sampling error? It refers to the difference between the sample estimate and corresponding population parameter. That is the actual value of the characteristics of the population. See, for example, average income, etc. Okay. Thus the difference between the actual value of a parameter of the population and its estimate, that is from the sample, is the sampling error. So I'll just tell you one example so that you don't get confused. Okay. And this type of sample can be minimized, okay, by taking a large number of sample. Okay, now I'll give you the example like what is sample error. See, for example, if you are taking the income of 5 farmers, okay, which is written as variable x, okay, so let's write the income of 5 farmers, for example, 500, 550, 600, 650 and 700. Okay, so if you're taking the average of this, when you add 500, 550, 600, 650 and 700, you get the total of 3000. Okay, when you take the average divided by 5, correct, because there are 5 farmers, you get 600. So this 600 is the true value, correct. Okay, now if you are selecting a sample, we may select income of 2 farmers. For example, if we may take 500 and 600. Now when we take the average, 500 plus 600 divided by 2, we get 550. Okay, so which is the true value? The true value is the average of average income of 5 farmers. Okay, that is 600, and the estimate value is 550. Correct, when you use the sample. So what is the difference? 50. 600 minus 550. So 600 is the true value, 550 is the estimate. So when you take the difference, you get 50. This is the sampling error. Okay. Now we will see what is non-sampling error. Non-sampling errors are more serious than sampling error because sampling error can be minimized by taking large sample. Okay. So it is difficult to minimize non-sampling error. Okay, it is very difficult to minimize non-sampling errors even by taking a large sample. See, even a census can contain non-sampling errors. Some of the non-sampling errors are sampling bias. Okay, now what do you mean by sampling bias? See, sampling bias occurs when the sampling plan is such that some member of the targeted population could not possibly be included in the sample. Okay, so the sampling bias occurs when the sampling plan is such that some members of the targeted population could not possibly be included in the sample. Okay, it means that the technique used to obtain the sample individual tends to favor one part of the population over another. Okay, and it can also occur from undercoverage, which occurs when the proportion of one segment of the population is lower in a sample than it is in the population. Okay, so this is called as sampling bias. Okay, next is non-response, that is non-response error. So non-response error occurs when respondents are different than those who do not respond. Okay, so non-response occur if an interviewer is unable to contact a person listed in the sample, or a person from the sample refuses to respond. So in this case, the sample observation may not be representative. Okay, so non-response means here it occurs when an interviewer is unable to contact a person listed in the sample, or a person from the sample refuses to respond to the investigator. Okay, next is error in data acquisition. Okay, now what is errors in data acquisition? See, this type of error arises from recording of incorrect responses. Okay, and the reasons are incorrect. See, suppose the teacher asks the students to measure the height of the teacher's table in the classroom. Okay, so the measurement by the student may differ. The difference may occur due to differences in measurement tape, then carelessness of the student, etc. Similarly, suppose we want to collect data on price of oranges. Okay, so we know that the price vary from shop to shop and from market to market. So price also vary according to the quality. So therefore, we can only consider the average price. So recording mistakes can also take place as the enumerous or the respondents may commit error in recording the transactions, okay, or while taking down the transactions or while writing down the datas, okay. Sometimes, see, for example, instead of recording 13, it might be he or she might have recorded it has 31. Okay, so this is also a kind of non-sampling error, where while taking down, okay, while taking it down or while recording, the error has occurred. Okay, that is like mistake made due to transcription from primary source or incorrect measurement incorrect measurement being taken because of faulty equipments, something. Okay, now next we will see Census of India and NSSO. So what is NSSO? It is National Sample Survey. National Sample Survey. Okay. So there are some agencies both at the national and state level to collect, process and tabulate the statistical data. So some of the agencies at national level are Census of India, National Survey, Census of India, then Central Statistical Office, that is CSO, then Register of India, RGI, okay, etc. So the Census of India provides the most complete and continuous demographic record of population. The census is being regularly conducted. Okay, it is being regularly conducted every 10 years since 1881. And the first census after independence was conducted in 1951. Okay, so the census being regularly conducted every 10 years from 1881. Okay, it was started in 1881, and the first census after independence was conducted in 1951. So this census office collects information on various aspects of population such as the size, then density, sex ratio, literacy, then migration, then rural urban distribution, etc. So census data is interpreted and analyzed to understand many economic and social issues in India. The NSS, that is National Sample Survey, was established by the Government of India to conduct national-wide survey on socio-economic issues. Okay, so this NSS does continuous survey in successive rounds. The data collected by NSS are released through reports and its journals. Okay, which is called as Sarvekshana. Okay, the journal which is released quarterly. Okay, it is a quarterly journal. Okay, which is released, which is called as Sarvekshana. And this NSS provides periodical estimate of literacy, school enrollment, then utilization of educational services, then employment, unemployment, manufacturing and services sector enterprise, then child care, utilization of public distribution, etc. The NSS 60th round survey was in January to June 2004. Okay, was on healthcare. Okay, it was on healthcare and morbidity. Okay, So all the census are used by the government of India for planning purposes. Okay, so here we come to the end of this chapter. So in conclusion, I would like to say that economic facts are expressed in terms of number, which is called as data, and the purpose of data collection is to understand, explain, and to analyze a problem and to understand what are the causes behind it. Okay, so what is primary data? Primary data is obtained by conducting survey. Okay, survey includes various steps which need to be planned carefully, and there are various agencies which collect, process, tabulate, and publish statistical data. Okay, so there are used as secondary data. Okay, so the agencies which has already collected statistical data, and if from that agencies from any published book, if you're taking the data, that data is called as secondary data. Okay, so this is all about this chapter. And the choice of data or the mode of data collection depends upon the objectives of this study. Okay, so this is all about this chapter. I hope this is clear. If not, please do contact me. This chapter is very simple, okay, and it's very easy to study and remember as well. Students, if you have any doubt, you can contact me. Okay, Jazakallah khairan.